Good afternoon. Exciting day for us and our program. Have a chance to add 22 young men to our university, our football program, our family. 21 of the 22 from the state of Rutgers, 11 from our home state here in New Jersey. Some great programs, high school programs represented on this list, and some that we've had multiple players from, and that always makes us feel good. And certainly to add another player from Piscataway High School is always a good thing for Rutgers football. With that, what I would do is I will go through the list, and then at the end, take questions about any of these guys. First player on the list alphabetically is Nick Archidiacono, the younger brother of Brandon, who signed with us last year. When you watch Nick's film, what you see is a kind of a hybrid tight end, H-back type of guy. He plays on the line. He's strong. He's tough. He plays on defense, but he's also somebody who can play in the backfield and does a good job catching the ball out of the backfield. Another player from Archbishop Wood in Pennsylvania, the third player from that program to come here in the last 2 years, and certainly a winning program. Dante Ayers, who is already enrolled from Maryland, Wycomico High School, the home of Wayne Warren. A big, physical, thick running back, somebody that had sat out his senior year because of an injury, but is 100% right now, and somebody that we fully expect to compete this spring at a position where, we have a starter in Savon Huggins, but behind him, we really don't have a proven running back. We have some talented players and people we feel really good about, but Dante Ayers is going to come in and immediately have an opportunity to compete this spring, which I think is going to be a positive for everybody. Nadir Barnwell, one of the more dynamic players in our state, right here at Piscataway High School, another player from Coach Higgins' program that we really feel is going to go on and do some exceptional things. Somebody at his high school who did a little bit of everything, from quarterback to special teams to the secondary, and we feel somebody who can come in here and help us immediately in the secondary, and he's going to have an opportunity to do that. Now, he did have a shoulder surgery after the season ended this year that will allow him to participate in spring, but in a non-contact fashion. So he will do a lot of excellent learning and really get acclimated to the types of drills we do here, but the contact portion he will not get until the fall, and that's when he will really get an opportunity to compete. Devin Carter from Rochester, New York, is a big running back and a one-back type of running back, and somebody we think that certainly is talented and a threat when he has the ball in his hands, but also somebody who we think can evolve and do some of the things at the fullback position that we need behind Michael Burton. As I've said, that the depth at that position is a concern for me, and somebody that we needed to add somebody to the list here on signing day that I thought could help us and strengthen that position, and getting Devin from Brighton High School up there in Rochester is going to do that for us. Anthony Chaffee from Dayton High School, Springfield, New Jersey, is somebody who, again, is going to have an opportunity, albeit it won't start until the summer, to come in here and compete and to play corner for us. Anthony's an exceptional athlete, extremely fast. Documented 100-meter times are very impressive. But I also got a chance this fall to see Anthony play basketball, and he's an excellent all-around athlete and an elite competitor, and we're really excited to have him here with us. Justin Goodwin from Madison, New Jersey, one of the top running backs in our state, all-state running back. Has led his team to 2 undefeated state championship seasons the last 2 years, and because the school maybe is a little bit of a smaller school, I don't know how well known he is outside of New Jersey, but I think the people that have had to compete against him can tell you he's extremely elusive, a very natural runner, a little bit of a slasher when you watch him on tape, and again, somebody who, when he gets here in the summer and into fall training camp, is going to have an opportunity to compete, to be in the depth at running back. Janarian Grant from Pascal, Florida, is an electric special teams player on film, but that's not where his skill set stops. He's 5'10". He plays wide receiver. He will be a threat to make a big play every time he touches the ball. He is the player of the year in his area down there, and somebody that I think can immediately have an impact for us on special teams. And he may have a chance to have an impact for us at the receiver position, but a very talented young man and exceptional with the ball in his hands. Bryant Gross Armiento is from American Heritage High School down in Florida, and he is another player in the secondary that is going to have an opportunity to compete. And when I say compete, on a team where we have 4 of our 5 top players in the secondary moving on, whether it's graduation or leaving early for the draft, there is going to be competition at that position from now until we start the season, really to find out who are going to be the corners, who are going to start, who's going to be the other safety to line up next to Zoe, and then who are going to be the other players that are going to play in the sub packages. So when we talk about players like Nadir, Anthony Chaffee, and now Bryant, these are guys that are really going to have a special opportunity to come in here and have an impact right away. Nick Internicola is a defensive end. He goes into our rush category, from the university school down in Florida, one of the top programs in that state. And he is an extremely aggressive, physical defensive end, a relentless defensive player, and really fits the mold of what a Rutgers football defensive player is. And we're excited to get him on the campus this summer. Sebastian Joseph from Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. He plays defensive end, on his team, but he is somebody for us who really projects to be a 3 technique, and he's an exciting player, a really exciting player to watch on film. Right now, he's about 265 pounds, and we think he's going to be a little bit bigger as he goes through his career, and he will be a legitimate pass rusher at that position, and hopefully somebody that can continue in the line of Eric Foster, Justin Francis. Hopefully he can give us that ability to rush the passer at that position. Josh Klecko from Red Bank Catholic, certainly a familiar last name to the people in this area, but I think his resume stands on its own. And Josh is an excellent addition to our team, our university, and our defense, and probably somebody who is as perfectly suited to play the nose guard position in our defense as anybody I've seen on high school tape, and constantly in the backfield on the game film that we've watched. A playmaker at the defensive position, not just somebody who takes on blocks, but he's able to get off blocks and run to the football. A very high motor guy as well, and somebody we think that is going to have an excellent career here. Chris Laviano, the quarterback from Long Island, from Holy Trinity High School. I'm very familiar with that league. It's the league that I played in, and because of that, it did not take me long to have people from there, whether they're coaches or people who watch the games locally, to tell me we need to recruit this young man. And we started at a very early age. Chris Laviano, as a true freshman, led Holy Trinity to the Catholic League championship game against St. Anthony's. And I don't know that feat has been repeated since or done before. So he's a special football player, and I think in every class it is critical. It is critical to get a quarterback who you feel can compete and can lead your program. And whether it was Blake Rankin last year, Chris Laviano this year, we've got quarterbacks in our program right now that I feel very comfortable saying, as we go into spring, are going to create a very competitive environment. We'll compete at every position, but I think at that one, we're going to have a group of players. Chris is enrolled right now. Blake is with us for a year now. It's going to be an excellent competitive environment as we go into the spring. Lester Liston is the one player from the 22 that's a little bit outside the state of Rutgers, from Michigan, a linebacker who went to prep school for a semester and now is with us, and a very impressive player on tape, a very physical linebacker, somebody who runs to the ball very well. One of the things I'm most excited about with this recruiting class is I think we were able to continue our tradition of building speed in our defense. And we have not had to sacrifice size to do that, and that's always exciting to me. As I look at the class on paper, and he is a player who is going to have an opportunity to compete not only for a starting job this spring, but also to be in the rotation, to play special teams. His body type should be able to do a lot of things for us in our defense with all of our packages, and then certainly on special teams. Taylor Marini from Lake Mary, down in Florida. Taylor Marini is a tight end cut in the same mold as Sam Johnson. He's that type of player. He is a strong on-the-line blocker. In his spare time in the past, he has wrestled alligators, which I think you would find interesting. I certainly did, and it made for a little more interesting home visit when I was down there. But excellent hands, runs good routes, but a physical, strong on-the-line blocker, and somebody I think is going to get a little bit bigger when he's here as well. Dorian Miller from Metuchen High School, just down the road a little bit, offensive lineman. The last name certainly is familiar with his older brother a couple years ago. Dorian is exactly the type of offensive lineman that we want to recruit here. He is a physical, aggressive, strong inside player, and somebody that, because of where he's at from a strength perspective right now, should be able to come in and help add depth at an early age. Whether or not that'll be the first year, that we won't be able to determine until the fall. I think that position is always a tough one to play early. We've had a couple, but it's tough. But I think Dorian is somebody, because of his physical attributes, that's going to have that kind of opportunity, and we're excited that he's here with us. Miles Nash from Timber Creek, another player from Timber Creek coming to Rutgers. Coach Hinson does an excellent job down there, and Miles is a big athlete and somebody that we think is going to play outside or Sam linebacker here, but also a player who should be able to do a lot of things. He's a good pass rusher. His body type should make him a good special teams player, and he has done a lot of things at the high school, from playing linebacker to playing quarterback. But I think as he goes into college, he'll finish in that outside linebacker role and become an excellent all-around football player for us. Andre Patton from St. Elizabeth's down in Delaware, a wide receiver who I think is going to compete at a very early age for playing time. He is a spectacular athlete. I want to say he's in the top 5 in Delaware high school basketball history in terms of scoring. He's an excellent football player, somebody who he seems to get a little bit bigger every time I see him, and another excellent prospect for us from the state of Delaware. Where we got Deron Harmon, where we got the Morrell twins. It's been a good recruiting area for us, and he'll be the next one in that line. DeLon Stevenson, brother of Darrell Stevenson, originally from Sayreville High School, and then up at Milford Prep, is somebody who's here with us right now, and somebody who is going to have an opportunity to compete at the corner position. And I think that that's critical. I mentioned it with some of the other guys. We're certainly excited to have another player from Coach Najar's program, David Maluski, Darrell Stevenson, and now DeLon Stevenson. And it's been excellent to have DeLon here for a couple of weeks already, and just to see how he's grown physically over the last year. And we can't wait to get out there and get to spring practice with him and see how much he can do for us and how soon he can do it. TJ Taylor from South Brunswick High School, home of Mohamed Sanu, home of Javon Tyree, and now another player from there. Coach George is now the high school coach there. He's a safety. He is a long body. He is somebody that is still growing into his body. He's an excellent player on high school film. And he's one of those guys that could be 20 pounds bigger in a year and a half, because he's just at the beginning stages, I think, of what his body's going to be. He runs really well, and when we get him here in the summertime, it'll be interesting to see how fast we can get him in the depth, competing with the other safeties in our program, to see what he can do for us at an early age. John Simmis from Bergen Catholic, wide receiver. John did not play his senior year because of a knee injury. As a junior, he has a spectacular amount of highlights. Nunzio Campanile has done an excellent job in his couple of years there as head coach. And John Simmis is as good a football player as you will see on film, and an elite level competitor. And he, when he gets here, he will be somebody that is going to be able to compete right away with the other receivers, because I have not seen the ball that he has dropped yet. He's got tremendous hands. We're really excited to have him, and we're certainly excited to have another player from Bergen Catholic here at Rutgers with us. Kamoko Toure, a defensive end from Barringer High School, is a player who has not played a lot of football, and this year he came back to football. We were fortunate to have him in camp. I think he is a dynamic athlete and an explosive athlete, and he spent most of his career in high school playing basketball and then came back this year to play football. I am really excited about what he's going to be, and he is somebody that when he reaches his full potential, I think he could be a tremendous pass rusher and somebody that will be able to change the game at the defensive end position. Eric Way from Egg Harbor Township High School, the last player on the list, defensive end, and a big, thick, strong defensive end who runs well to the football. And a third player from Egg Harbor High School, T.J. Johnson, being somebody who is going to have a chance to compete at that corner position as well. And I'm really excited that Eric Waif is the type of defensive lineman physically that we want to continue to recruit, because he runs well to the ball, but at the same time we haven't had to sacrifice size to get him in our program. And that's our list. And with that, I would open it up for questions. Tom.
They want me to wait for the mic. Last year you didn't have, I guess, you didn't feel like you had the need to play as many true freshmen. Obviously, you only played 2 on special teams. Is there more of a need this year, and will that allow the opportunity for maybe more of these kids to see the playing time?
I think every position's a little bit different. I think when you look at our secondary, there's opportunity. And there's no doubt that there's going to be opportunity. Guys like Nadir Barnwell and DeLon Stevenson are here right now with us, so they'll have a little bit more of an advantage having the opportunity to go through spring and be in the meetings full time. But we're going to need more than 2. So I really believe it's certainly a great opportunity for the players already on our team, but it's going to be a tremendous opportunity for the incoming class to compete as well. And it's, again, a position where it's not just the starters. It's the starters and the sub-packages. You're looking for multiple people.
Hey, Kyle. Did you feel that you used, the Big Ten, the name, the brand at all, very much, in recruiting for this class this year?
To me, when you go out to recruit, the first thing you have to do is identify the players that can help you win the national championship, because that's the first thing you see and the first thing you really know is what they look like as a player. I think once you get that group of players, you have to identify the ones that have the core values that you're looking for in a person and the ones that are right for your university. What the Big Ten does for us is it eliminates questions. Before that, I think we had to answer some questions about what was going to happen in the future. All of those questions have been eliminated. We're going to be playing in the premier athletic academic conference in all of college sports. So we couldn't be more excited about doing that. It has not changed our approach, but what it's done is it's kind of streamlined some of the questions that we've had to answer when you're getting to know a recruit.
Yeah, and the reason I ask mostly is because it seems like the schools that did realign, in the past year or so, didn't really get much of a perceivable boost this year in recruiting. I'm just wondering if you think it's just too early to see that. Has it not really had an impact on prospects' minds at all? What's your, take on that?
I don't see recruiting that way. To me, the art, the success, the importance of recruiting is exactly what I said. Find the players you can win the national championship with, and then identify the ones that are right for your university. We've done a good job of that, and I feel like we've done an excellent job of that this year, and that's why I'm so excited about this group.
Kyle, how comfortable are you with only having 1 offensive lineman in this class?
What I'm excited about is that I think we've got an excellent player in Dorian Miller coming to Rutgers. Now, every year there's going to be different numbers at different classes. I think the one thing you don't want to do is get concerned that there's one. Again, when I say what you don't want to do is really what I don't want to do as the head coach is say, well, we have to take another one. We're going to find the players that are right for us and the players that can help us win the national championship. And I know that Dorian Miller can do that for us, and that's why we're so excited to have him in the program.
Kyle, is this it, or do you anticipate recruiting more and signing period lasts a little bit longer?
These are the only players that I anticipate.
Kyle, already there seems to be some fans seem to be bothered by the absence of New Jersey dominance here. What's your thought on that, and does it bother you? Is it a concern? Do you worry about that, where the players come from?
I'm really excited about the 11 players we've signed from New Jersey. That is what I'm most pleased with. I don't ever look at recruiting saying we have to take a certain percentage from here or here or here. We want to find the best players that are right for us, and I feel that we've done that.
Kyle, TJ Taylor coming here after announcing a year ago there have been his tensions and the way he started in that championship game here on the field here, and he gets to stay here. What are your thoughts on that?
Anytime you have a player who grows up and goes to school as close to our university as a player like TJ Taylor, or I could use a player like Anthony Davis, or a player like Mohamed Sanu, I think it's a special thing. It's not only a special thing for Rutgers football and Rutgers University, it's a special thing for TJ Taylor and his family. It's a special thing for South Brunswick High School, and I think it creates a situation that is really positive for the entire community here in New Jersey.
Kyle, can you talk a little bit about Nadir Barnwell and the Piscataway program, which has brought you guys like Devon Thompson, Anthony Davis, and what maybe makes that program, which happens to be right here in your backyard, so special that they produce some top-notch student athletes for you?
We have quite a few excellent programs in our home state here in New Jersey. Coach Higgins runs one that's as good as anybody's at Piscataway High School, and I remember Devon Thompson. I remember Brandon Rankart, who came here and became a captain and then went on to the NFL, and certainly Anthony Davis, people know his resume, and Marvin Booker, who was a senior for us this year from Piscataway High School, and now we're fortunate to have Nadir in our program. And again, it's similar to what I said about TJ. I think it has created an atmosphere that has been certainly beneficial for us here at Rutgers, but I think also a good situation for the people at Piscataway High School, that when they turn on the TV on Saturday, or when they come to High Point Solutions Stadium here on Saturday, they get to see their own playing in their home state, and I think that's positive.
Kyle, what's your view in general on rankings and stars? Do they have any impact on you? Do you care?
The rankings and the stars don't have any impact on us, and it's we certainly track and study a lot of things as college coaches. But if you go back and you look at our 2005 recruiting class, I want to say that 15 of the recruits in that class were 2 stars, and we ultimately had 8 players play in the NFL from that class. 7 of the 8 that played in the NFL were 2 stars. So I think those rankings, they can skew what's really important. What's really important are finding the players that are right for your program. That is so much more important than what a player could be ranked, because a player that is really successful here in our program at Rutgers, part of it is because they're right for Rutgers. I don't know if they went somewhere else that they would be as successful. I don't know that every player would have the same success at every program. I actually don't believe that they would. I think it works perfectly when you find the right players for your program. Devin and Jason McCourty, before they had the NFL resumes that they do, they were the right people for Rutgers, and I have to believe that that's part of the reason why they've had the success that they have.
Kyle, Anthony Chaffee was the first guy to commit to this class. What was it like to take that first commitment in 2013? And with Chaffee, do you see him more as a corner or a safety?
It was tremendous, and I see Anthony as a corner, to answer that part of it quickly. But here's what made that meeting so special to me. I sat in my office with Anthony and his parents, and we talked about offering him a scholarship, and the next words that came out of his mouth were, "I've dreamed of being a football player at Rutgers my whole life." That was special. And I've heard that more and more in the 8 years that I've been here at Rutgers. And I think as we go forward and continue to have success, we're going to hear it more and more in the future as well.
Kyle, a year ago you had 2 days to wrap up your recruiting class. What was the process like this, having the luxury of having an entire year as a head coach and recruiting?
I don't know that we ever see it as a luxury, but it was certainly a different experience. I think the challenge of this year's recruiting class, we certainly knew the players that we were targeting before last year's signing class, similar to this year. We already have the players that we're targeting, and then we'll watch the progress of some others. But I think the challenge of this year's recruiting class was taking 9 assistant coaches from 9 different areas and really getting them to know the players, getting the recruits to know them, and just to make sure that those relationships, worked the way we wanted them to. So we had a lot of moving parts this year that's a little bit different than last year, and I'm pleased. And now going forward, I'm excited because now with our staff in place, we'll be able to go forward with some already pre-existing relationships, and I think that's always a positive in recruiting.
Kyle, what can you say about the issues of Crozier's eligibility, and was it something that came as a shock or something you thought there was a chance of happening?
Today is a day that we talk about the signees at Rutgers. I'm not going to comment on anything like that.
What was the impact of not having Tim Pernetti on the staff recruiting?
Well, my thought on that was that next year we would bring Tim back. But no, I think if you go back a year, and anytime you're able to take your athletic director, who's a representative of your football program by title alone, but for Tim it's not just by title alone, he's an alumnus of our program and somebody who played here, and you have the ability to put them on the road, there's a benefit. There's a bonus, and it's a big one. And for somebody who can speak directly as the athletic director to a recruit, it makes a difference. And I know it made a difference last year.
Got time for 2 more questions.
Just give us a short assessment, just in general in the class. Did it fill all your needs? Did you get the speed you wanted? Just if you could summarize it.
As the head coach, I feel very, very comfortable saying that it filled all of our needs. I think if I rewind myself to when I was a position coach, you always want more. So I think if you polled the assistant coaches, you would find that they all want more, and that's just the nature of the job. But I feel very good that we filled all the needs that I set out before we got into this class. But what I'm most excited about is I feel like we have a bigger, faster team going forward because of this recruiting class. That's what I'm really most excited about, and it's not just at the offense or the defensive line positions. Players like Nadir Barnwell, Anthony Chaffee, T.J. Taylor, DeLon Stevenson, these are 5'11", 6 foot, 6'1" skilled athletes. Andre Patton, 6'3". So we have been able to add a tremendous amount of size with speed, and that combination, together with the fact that these are the right people for Rutgers, we have a bright future with these players in place.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you.